Alright, now that the first of the 4 bonus series featuring these VA Supercars is done, let's move on to the second in line here. Supercars Holden versus Ford. So that is, once again, the using 2016 version of these VA Supercars. Take control in the battle between these timeless rivals using power and skill to claim supremacy. Alright, so let's check out. 25% completion is going to be worth 8 gold. And how many tiers total? 18 tiers total. So once again, this is going to be about like 4.5 tiers for the 25%. So let's start with tier 1. We'll start from the beginning. Speed Snap at Mount Panorama. So here are the 2 cars featured in this series. In my case, both of them are fully upgraded. So 2016 version. So basically all 3 VA Supercars in my garage from 2016 are fully upgraded, all thanks to the upgrade discounts they offered us back in the day. So I'm sure it'll come around again. Anyway, so this series should go pretty quick, I'm expecting, since both of the cars that I'm using in this series are fully upgraded. So number 1, I should not run into any trouble claiming first place. And second of all, race duration, right? I can run twice as many races in green. So cuts down on service time. And also the fact that at this point, all my other series are done. So I can just mainly focus on completing these bonus series before the arrival of version 6.5 next week. Earlier next week sometime, either Monday or Tuesday. Typically they release them on Monday, so there's the gold trophy number 1 with the top speed at as I was crossing that finish line at 296.83 kph. So not too difficult with a fully upgraded car. Of course, I was running with the Commodore, but I'm sure with the Ford it would have been just as straightforward. So, all right. So if anybody's just jumping in here without necessarily viewing my previous conclusion of the first VA Supercars bonus series that I just completed, the Ultima Power Play. Of course, I'm running through these so I can claim any rewards before the next update arrives. So let's continue on with the race number 2, Cup Race at Mount Panorama. It's gonna be a morning race, so maybe slightly hazier, but unlike Le Mans or at Nürburgring, the visibility shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially with these cars, because these VA Supercars, as you know, very similar to NASCARs in that sense that we don't have headlamps, right? So some of those darker rendering races can be a little bit visually challenging. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that here at Bathurst. So, all right. So we got a double lapper cup race. Let's see. The grid looked like a relatively full. Yep, 22 car grid. So we're starting out with a pretty loaded grid here. From the very early on, the race number 2 of this first tier. But in terms of difficulty-wise, I expect many of these cars are either running very low upgrades or close to stock, I'd assume. Certainly flag bots can't be running with too many upgrades. And it's tier 1, so... But then again, mine is fully upgraded, so perhaps it's less than ideal comparison here. As I run off without the rest of the grid, enjoying my solitude on top of this Mount Panorama summit as I drive through these parks. And then we descend. Alright. So, of course, these cars have really butters for brakes, so you gotta really start braking early. And to compensate, of course, they do have a pretty decent grip, so you can take these corners at a relatively high speed. Which is the part that makes these V8 supercars, racing them, very fun. So, yeah, a different racing dynamic, right? Kind of unique in that sense. But because they are so similar, I would love to have seen the, what do you call it, the drafting dynamics, the physics included, just like the NASCARs in these V8 supercar series. I mean, they already have it in NASCAR, so it can't be that much more complicated to implement it here. I know they've done it in other cars during special events that has nothing to do with NASCAR. So, come on. Could we get that? That would be really special. You know, because in fact, I think every race should have drifting mechanics introduced. I mean, what do you guys think? You know, because then all of a sudden, like for example, the team challenge, top team speed, or top speed team challenge, some order of those words. So top speed team challenge would be very different, because if you're able to draft behind or in front, like slipstream, right, then you're able to reach faster speed than just going, let's say, downhill flat. You know, so of course that means you would need to be racing against some of your fastest TSM friends or faster flag bots to benefit from such racing mechanics. But that would be really cool, because that, as I said, makes everything so much more dynamic and less predictable and mechanical, like robotic. Because right now, you know your launch point, and you try to run as quickly as you can and as clean as you can. Not saying the current format makes it like a piece of cake to achieve the top speed all the time, but introducing that just I don't know, it mixes things up. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that's from somebody who hasn't done any team events in now quite some time now. I feel like it's been forever, because real life issues, gotta take care of some other things. I cannot, team events, even top speed events, man, they do take a lot of time out, at least for me. If I'm racing in a team, I'd like to give it my best, so I end up spending decent amount of time. And of course, currently with the introduction of motorsports, a lot of my time when I'm playing Real Racing 3 is pretty much eaten up by trying to complete these series that are expiring before the next update rolls out. So I'm expecting with the 6.5 well, obviously these VA Supercar series are going to be all gone out of your career section. And then and they're basically going to be showing up as new races, new series under motorsports section. So the next version, right? So 6.6, I'm expecting there will be more migration. So maybe they will start moving out. Let's see, what will they move out? Because they moved out, they will be completing the LMP ones. And of course, there are still a lot of Le Mans GT Pro class series that we have still remaining in the main career section. So maybe those will be migrating over to motorsport section. I would be surprised, because like Ford GT, like Ford Le Mans GT, still in career section along with the Ferrari, right? And then let's see, the Corvette's still in there. So, and of course, 911 RSRs. There's so many. Some of them have migrated over. 2017 version, I believe, is the one that's been moved over. Is there any other that has moved over? I don't know. But let's see. What else? F1 series? They definitely will. I mean, obviously, if anything belongs in the motorsports section. Right? F1, what's more predominant motorsports than F1? Maybe popularity-wise, maybe NASCAR. Because here in the US, NASCAR is huge. It's if you start getting into it, it is pretty exhilarating. But if you're like watching it from a distance, if you're not paying attention, it just looks like people are just driving around in circles. Sort of like watching American football. If you don't understand what's going on, I suppose it can be pretty boring because they start and they stop. They start and they stop. But of course, if you understand what's going on, it's a bit more interesting, like many other things in life, right? So anyway, so
while I was talking, here's the final race of the tier number 1. So this bonus series, of course, has 18 tiers total, with a couple of time trials sprinkled in the middle. So yeah, so with the car fully upgraded, we get the double duration bonus, which is wonderful. So there is the trophy number 3 to conclude and unlock tier 1 and unlock tier 2. So I'll see if I can run through the remaining series like I run through. I do the video of limited time series, just 1 tier per video.